Hey, I'm Alicia Newcomb, and this is Assembly Guide, your guide to assembling and organizing as we work to make change in our theatrical industry. Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome back to Assembly Guide. Alicia Newcomb here, she, her. Thanks for joining me and coming back today. This is going to be a brief episode because I'm busy digging into a full episode for 2 weeks from now, but I didn't want to leave you waiting in the meantime. I took an unplanned break from podcasting, and I want to let you know why, because it's important to talk about. And really, it's because of two reasons. The first being I was in negotiations. So I was in the middle of negotiations for the past several months for my union as an actor in theater, and that is Actors Equity Association. It is the union that represents actors and stage managers working in theater. And I was a member of the negotiating team for the production contract, which is basically the contract that is for Broadway shows, for Broadway actors and stage managers. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's the easiest way to talk about it. And as a member of the negotiating team, I was sitting across the table from the Broadway League for several months of negotiations, trying to fight for better, safer, fairer, stronger contracts for actors and stage managers. And that was extremely time consuming, and I am very thankful I did it. I learned a ton. I do not regret a single second of time that I put into that, and it took all of my time and energy. And so I was not able to be putting that time and energy here into this podcast, into this space. And the second reason that I haven't really been at my mic has been, and it's semi-related to negotiations, because I've been fielding a lot of people's frustrations. And it's not only tied to negotiations, but that's the first part of this. Surrounding anything with change, like we've talked about on here before, change is frustrating because it's often significantly more incremental than we'd like it to be. It's really hard to make change within systems that do not value people, or dehumanize them, or oppress them, and create unsustainable working conditions. Changing those systems is extremely difficult, and it's work that needs to be done. And within that work, people often tend to get frustrated if change is not moving at the pace that they would like it to be, if it doesn't look the way that they would like it to be. And while those frustrations are absolutely valid, oftentimes they're not directed at the systems themselves or the people who create and maintain those systems, but they're often directed at the people who are doing the work to try to change them. And while I understand those frustrations, it is really difficult to receive the misdirected frustrations and anger, and it doesn't come without needing to take care of myself. And also unrelated to negotiations, we've talked about this before, but when you're talking about change, there are always going to be people who disagree. When you're talking about anything, there's always going to be people who disagree, unfortunately. And I got a comment on my last podcast episode, which was about humane scheduling, that was not very kind. And this person very clearly did not like what I had to say. And that is okay. And that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. So I think I let that keep me from my mic for far too long. And to be honest, I'm kind of disappointed that I gave it that power over the work that I'm doing and over myself. And I'm going to try to not make that mistake so much anymore moving forward and create better ways for me to make sure I can do this work sustainably. I've always known that speaking up is going to make some people upset. Challenging systems of power means that people, particularly the people who benefit from those systems or exist within them, are going to feel some feelings. And as a result of not being able to process them on their own, those feelings are often taken out on the people challenging those systems, especially when people feel that their identity is tied to the system being challenged. Also, and specifically talking about my experience on the negotiating team now, working within the union or within any group, but really for me in this case, within the union, in a space that not everyone gets to see, which I did not take lightly. That is an extreme privilege to get to speak on behalf of actors and stage managers, and an extreme responsibility that I did not take for granted. And I put every ounce of energy and brain power and creativity and time into representing. But being in a space that not everyone gets to see, because we can't have an infinite number of people on the bargaining team, means that people who often want the same change as you do inevitably don't have the same context that you do. And again, when people are feeling frustrated with change and how incremental it can be, which we've talked about here before, sometimes those frustrations get taken out on you or on people doing the work. And the irony is that we've talked about all of this before, but practicing what I preach is harder than speaking on it. And to be honest, I wasn't practicing doing advocacy work sustainably, so I needed to take a step back. I'm hopeful that now I've got better systems in place to protect myself and to do that work sustainably. Because to be honest, if I burn out, this podcast doesn't exist. Any type of change that I hope to create in future doesn't exist. And if I work in a way that leads to burnout, and that's the work that I'm talking about, then I'm teaching others to do this work in an unsustainable way. And that's not what this is about. This is about sustainability. This is about doing advocacy sustainably. And practicing that myself is important. From here, I plan to continue moving forward, releasing an episode every 2 weeks. And I'm really super excited about some upcoming topics on my radar. I'm also going to start bringing in some guests that you can hear. There's so many other amazing voices and brains and talents and people doing incredible work that I'm really excited to have conversations with in this space. I'm committing to showing up every 2 weeks, starting November 27th, to the best of my ability. And I hope that you'll join me. If you're still here from before, thank you so much. If you're new, welcome. Thank you so much. Let's keep building more humane spaces together. But that includes me making sure that the space I'm creating with this podcast is sustainable too. I can't wait to talk more about change and making more humane theatrical spaces. And I'm so thankful that you're here and a part of this conversation and this community. I'll see you on November 27th. Stay tuned. All right, everyone. I need to interject real quick before I wrap up this episode. I misspoke and I want to clarify. My next episode is releasing November 26th, not November 27th. We are slowly making our way back to the podcast and I misspoke. So correcting myself, November 26th. I hope to see you here. The 27th is a holiday. If you celebrate, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your community and your people. And I hope you'll come back for the next episode of Assembly Guide. Speaking of, the next episode is going to be an awesome episode that you don't want to miss. It's my first interview episode, and I will be talking to two wonderful, fantastic, amazing humans all about swinging, about what it means to be a swing, about how swings are underprotected and undervalued, and what we could do as a community and an industry to better make sure that swings are protected, paid for the work that they're doing, and treated humanely. What a concept. So join us next time, November 26th, for us to talk about swings. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks for listening. Thank you so much for joining me today. It really means the world to me that you choose to be here, to take some time out of your day to listen to what I have to say about creating and advocating for more humane theatrical spaces. To that, this is a community, and it's most important to me that I'm building a community that prioritizes humane theatrical spaces and spaces that are safe and sustainable. And so if there's a friend that you know cares about that, it would really mean the world to me if you go ahead and send my podcast their way. This is a community, the more the merrier. And to that as well, feel free to reach out to me at assemblyguidepodcast@gmail.com or at assemblyguide on Instagram. Let me know what you want to talk about. Let me know if there's things you're seeing in our theater industry that need to change or need to be discussed, or the things that you see that are going great by people or companies that are creating awesome, safe, humane, sustainable practices. Let me know. I would love to hear any and all of the above. And thank you so much for showing up. I'll see you again in 2 weeks here at Assembly Guide. Bye.